we're going to cook a Detroit Greek style pizza. And you may say, well, what is that? Well, it's a deep dish pizza. And if you go to Detroit and you go to a place like Greektown, there's a place called Pizzapopolis. They make it there, and there's some other places around Metro Detroit that makes the same thing. But what we're going to do is we're going to make a pizza, but we're going to make it inside an iron skillet. And when we're done, we're going to have this big, thick, cheesy, soft crust pizza that is like 10,000 calories per slice. And that's why it's so wonderful. And you know, pizza is so wonderful. It's like, as a child, like the pizza is like your very first celebratory food. Like you eat pizza when you want to celebrate. And so that's what we're doing tonight. We're celebrating life and happiness and companionship. You know, pizza, yeah, you can get a slice. You get a slice, you get a personal pizza, but that's not the spirit of pizza. Pizza is about communion, it's about sharing. You make pizza, or you order pizza and you have it with your family or your loved one or whatever. Laura and I are going to make way too much pizza for the two of us to eat, but you know what? That's okay. We're going to go for like an hour-long walk. Laura went on a bike ride today.
I did.
She's a cyclist. I played the fiddle for 2 hours. That's got to be worth something. So what we're going to do is, right now, this is part one. We're going to do the flour, because what we have to do is get the flour or the dough to rise a little bit before we start making the pizza, and we want it to rise for about an hour. So we're going to do that now. So anyway, I got my flour recyclable there. Just a bowl. And by the way, so we're doing this from scratch. So I wanted you to see, like I'm literally pulling things out of, out of the cupboards. Nothing's prepared. You just got home from work. The kids are screaming at you, and you're gonna make a pizza. So I have a recipe for this, and I'm gonna share that with you. This is on my phone. It's hard to type. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do this step, and then I'm gonna go back on there, and I'm gonna give you the recipe for how to make the dough. How I make the actual pizza, you're gonna have to just kind of watch me, because some of it, a lot of my cooking is just from my head. I'm the same way as a musician, or when I've done things on camera. I can read a teleprompter and I can remember a script kind of, but I'm better if I'm just from the head. So what we're gonna do is, first we're gonna activate our yeast. And here's one of your, let's see if I can do this without, oh God, that's kind of scary. So this comes in a 3-pack. We're gonna cut this open here. Hopefully I didn't open 2. Okay, good. And you're a biologist. This Laura's biologist. Okay, she's giving me that look. But yeast is like a living thing, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to wake it up, because it's been sleeping in this little packet for who knows how long. So what we're going to do is we want to put it in some warm water. You know, like when you get up in the morning and you're getting ready for work, you know, you take a nice hot shower, kind of warm up, wake up, right? So the yeast is waking up for its long slumber. Who knows how long it's been there. And I need a cup and a half of warm water. You don't want it to be hot. You don't want it to be hot. So just like what you can get out of your tap, you know, if it burns you, then it's too hot. It's too hot. So let's see here. And okay, a cup and a quarter. And then we're gonna. What is yeast? It's not
It's a fungus.
It's a fungus, man. This is the fungus, that which is
among us.
See, you're funny. Okay, so we'll put that in there. I want you to show the little fungi. I'm not the only fun guy in this video, get it? Yeah, we got all sorts of fun guys. Okay, now, when you get up in the morning, get ready for work, well, you want to take a warm shower, or maybe a hot bath. Warm bath, not hot. But you want something to eat, too. And what do you eat in the morning? Like a donut, some cereal, you want some sugar. So we are going to activate our yeast with some sugar. We give our yeast, our fungi here, a little breakfast. This powdered sugar. It's powerful, man. Powerful. Is that right, honey? Like, the yeast is eating the sugar?
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
It's an energy source.
Yeah, it's an energy, see? Powerful yeast. Energy source, man. Energy source. Okay. So I'm going to stir that, and then I'm going to let that activate, right? I'm just going to set that right there. And just so you guys know, I'm a little bit of a bachelor. Laura and I are in a committed relationship, but we live separately. And that's why, like, my house is a mess and hers isn't, because, you know, I cleaned the kitchen before we did it, but it's Cody clean. It's Cody clean. So it's not Laura clean. And if you can see, she's rolling her eyes right now because it's Cody clean and it's not Laura clean. Okay, so I am going. Okay, so flour. Now, here's a very important thing. You know, this group here is all about healing and healthiness and things like that, which I totally dig. So, first of all, there's just like in music, there are no rules with food. There are only guidelines. So I might do something a certain way, but that may not work for you. So, so you can do it your own way. So, some people can't have gluten. And I feel bad because I think gluten's a great thing. So I use, this is bread flour. You can get this at any grocery store. What makes it unique or makes it special is it actually has extra gluten in it. And what does that gluten do? I mean, it's not this evil thing that people are telling you it is. I get it that some people have a reaction to it. But gluten is what gives the bread that soft, squishy, that stretchiness of what makes pizza dough great. So we're using bread flour. In fact, you saw the picture that we used for the promo for this. That was a great pizza that I made with whole wheat flour, and that was fine. I wasn't crazy about it, but it was fine. I mean, you had some, right, honey?
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah. But it just
maybe a little on the dense side because of all the wheat.
You know, and that's okay. What I'm trying to say is that if you're like, oh no gluten for me and my family, that's fine. You don't have to do it. This is how I do it, and I would say this is the way to do it if you want like a very like the way it is when you get in the pizzeria. So this is 3 1/4 cup, and this is a lot of dough actually, but what we're making this really thick pizza. God, that's a lot. Yeah, just go all the way. Now I'm following a recipe that I got off the web, but I've used it a couple times now with some success. So I'm sticking with it. So that's 3 1/4 cups of bread flour. Like I said, you don't have to do bread flour if you don't want gluten. And then, according to this, we're going to do a 1/2 cup, no, 3/4 cup of cornmeal. Just, I don't know what that does. I mean, it gives it kind of I know what it does. It gives it kind of a firmer texture, because, you never want everything all one way, like, Goldilocks, that whole story about, Goldilocks going and one bed's too soft and one's too hard, but the one in the middle is just right. Well, that's what we're doing. We're mixing up our flour. So cornmeal, I got white cornmeal, you can use any kind, and bread flour. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to, let's see here. Oh yeah, put some salt in here. That says 2 teaspoons. But guess what? Guess what 2 teaspoons is? Well, actually, I do have a teaspoon. Look at that. One, 2, and then I have a cutting board that I'm going to use to put my used dishes on. And 2 tablespoons of butter. Now, this is where things get kind of silly. I have a broken microwave. I want to melt this butter down. Ooh. I needed to get butter and I didn't get any. So we're going to, I have some here. And that's a little less than 2 tablespoons, but you have to adapt. Honey, make sure I remember to get some butter. I'm out of butter.
Okie doke.
So my microwave's broken. Just let that soak. Detergent on it. So none of the buttons work, but the 1 minute does. So it's gonna overcook. So we're gonna cook that. And in the meantime, let's say we did water, salt, and a tablespoon of olive oil. I don't have as much butter as I want, so I'm going to do a little bit more and then compensate on the other side. And like I said, you know, all these things, there's no exact. You know, to me, recipes are guidelines. And of course, Laura and I, we both cook, and we both cook very different ways. Although Laura's getting closer to me now, but I am an improviser. Laura is a scientist, and so when she gets a recipe, she like follows every step of the recipe, and then you end up with the food looking exactly like the cover of Better Homes and Garden, which I'm always very impressed. I can't follow instructions to save my life, so I'm always impressed when she can do that. Me, I just kind of shoot from the hip, and like I say, everything I do, there's guidelines. I will give you the recipe for this. All right, here's our butter. So it's way overcooked now. Try not to injure myself on long face, but putting the butter in there. And then this yeast, we wanted it to go for at least a minute. You can see it's already foaming up. So we're going to pour that in there. And then I just get my, it's probably going to have to be a disaster. And here's the thing, man. Cooking is not a... It's first of all, I don't believe in talent. I don't believe in talent. Talent is a lie. If you want to be able to do something, you just got to work at it, and you have to be able. You got to be prepared to make a lot of mistakes. And my cooking comes from decades of making mistakes, and also cooking with other people, and cooking with mentors. My father is a great cook. My stepfather. I lost him, it's been 2 years now. He was a great cook. One of my mentors, Tony Williams, a great cook. I cooked with these guys, learned a lot of lessons, made a lot of mistakes. But I will tell you this, that the key to cooking, the key to becoming a great cook is confidence. And don't be afraid to make mistakes. And look at me, right? So this may be, honey, this is the 3rd time I made this?
Sounds about right.
Style is the 2nd time because we did a regular style pizza, with this crust.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, you know, I'm live. I'm on Facebook right now, cooking. Oh, I forgot to put my apron on. It was going to be so cute, especially this shirt because this is actually a shirt I used to perform. If you don't know me very well. So there's a couple things that I do that are my endeavors in life. One is that I'm a musician and I play old-timey fiddle, and I might play some for you. I don't like how the live video processes the sound because it just makes everything sound kind of, I don't know, distorted. So what I'm doing is I'm kneading this, and this is all that stuff that we put in there, and I'm just kind of turning it in on itself, and I'm slowly forming it into a ball. Here's what we'll do. Set that down here. Oh, by the way, if you're drinking, and I will be, and just first of all, just a note there. All things in moderation. If you're someone who's recovering, you know. Get yourself a nice glass of Welch's grape juice or something. I'm going to make myself an aperitif, or as Laura says, aperitif. I say, man, your cousin Cletus got aperitif. No, that's actually how you say it. But a little game, if you're watching me cook, and you're having yourself a cocktail, every time I wash my hands, take a drink. So I put some wax paper here. And this is just so I can work the dough. And I'm just going to put a little flour. This flour just kind of acts as a like a lubricant. It just allows the dough to kind of slide around more freely. So here's our pizza dough. We're gonna put it back in there. Get that out of the way so you can see it. So I'm gonna work this dough. I'm gonna knead it. That's knead with a K. And I'm just folding it in on itself because I'm eventually forming it into a ball. And you can see already it's and all I'm doing is watch this. I'm bringing it in and then folding it together, pinching it, bringing it in, folding it together, and look what's happening. It's turning into a little ball. Happy little ball. And, okay. And we put a little flour in that. And then one more thing is, the music stopped. We're listening to, Laura's parents gave me some of their old albums, and I really like tiki music from the 50s. It's just so fun to listen to. It's exotic and it's kind of cool, and so we got that on. So I got my ball of dough right there, and I'm just gonna put a little olive oil on it because you know me, I love oil. You can only see Laura rolling her eyes at me right now. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna let that sit. Now look, I want you to look at that. I want you to pay attention. Look what it looks like right now. We're gonna come back to this in an hour or so. We're gonna do some other things. But we're gonna let that rise. By the way, if you're drinking, take another drink. By the way, all my rags are stained. They're not dirty though. They're very clean. They're just stained because they're well used. This is a working kitchen. This is not a kitchen to impress friends or bring guests in. This is a kitchen that makes a lot of food. So what I'm gonna do, come on with me. And my house is a wreck. Like I said, I'm a bachelor. We're gonna flip the album over. Laura got me this record player for my birthday, which is the greatest gift I've ever received in my life. And
fortunately, you told me exactly the kind of record player you wanted.
But I didn't know she was buying. She
No.
knew I was talking about
Yeah,
it.
no, you weren't dropping hints.
No.
You were just talking.
And then on top of that, so her parents are like moving a lot of their old stuff out, and this receiver, this amplifier, had been sitting down in the basement for like years. And they're like, "Do you want this? We're just gonna throw it out." I'm like, "Holy cow!" Like, I would have paid $300 for a new one of these, and yet the old ones were made better. And this thing, I don't know if you can pick it up on the through the sound with the live, but this is like, man, these two things. It's good music. Listen, it's all spooky. All right, come on in the kitchen. Yeah, we got a light in here. That's to help with the the lighting in the kitchen for the shooting. So I am gonna make a aperitif for myself. Like I say, alcohol in moderation. Personally, I only drink on non-school nights. Actually, Friday, Saturday, and then when Laura and I spend our Wednesday nights together too, and it's kind of celebratory to me. So I drink old fashions, and old fashioned is a drink made for people who love the taste of whiskey, but you can't just like drink straight whiskey all the time. You won't last very long. So, the old fashioned is just a way to dress up your whiskey so that you can still very much taste it. You're just not like drinking straight whiskey. Kind of make it last. So, part of it is you want to take an orange rind. And you just peel some of it off. We started this orange last night. And then there's oil in that orange. In fact, some of your sometimes you can buy orange oil and put it in your candles, and you'll get that orange flavor in your house. It's fantastic. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to rub that against the inside of my glass. This is just a Kroger Parmesan cheese jar that I use for making drinks. You recognize it, don't you?
No, I thought it was a jelly jar.
No, Parmesan cheese.
Okay.
I'm gonna use a jelly jar, I guess. All right, so we did that, and then we're gonna get some ice. Laura bought me my ice trays too. She got me a record player and some really cool ice trays. And I'll fill my shaker full of ice. And you know, the thing is, people think that like drinking straight whiskey makes you a tough guy, right? You know, whatever that's worth. But the truth is about whiskey is drinking straight whiskey is like eating concentrated orange juice. It's not made to be. I mean, yeah, you can, and I have, and there's times where really good whiskey you have it neat, but the water, adding a little water to your whiskey will actually kind of open it up. So I'm getting my cherries out here. I'm trying to think, is there anything else I need? I need butter and cherries. All right, so bitters. I can't tell you what this does, but it also kind of helps open up the whiskey flavor. So I put a little dash in there, not too much. You can see it's a small bottle, and this will last several months. And then whiskey. I buy it in the big half gallon and then pour it into fancy jars. And this is actually pretty inexpensive stuff. This is Evan Williams, very inexpensive, but it tastes very good. It's I think the oldest bourbon distillery in the United States. 17, I can't remember, founded in 17 something. It's half the price of Jack Daniels and it's better. But then that's not really hard. Well, I guess I won't just leave it at that. Oh, I didn't tell you what I did. So I put half a shot of simple syrup, and I put a shot. Did I ever put the whiskey in there? I haven't even started drinking it. A shot and a half of this, or an ounce and a half of this, half a shot of this, a dash of this on the ice. And I put a cherry in there. I remember when I was a little kid, my parents used to get me Shirley Temples, and I realize now that all a Shirley Temple is a old-fashioned for kids without whiskey. Right? And then.
Oh, you already did water.
I did. Okay. It's because I'm talking and doing stuff at the same time. Put it on there. And shake it up, man. And see how we go. And we're gonna pour it. Remember this? And we had the orange peel in there. And cherry. That's a good embrace for now. It's so cool when I do it off camera. Get in there. Alright, and these extra cubes set aside because I'll use them later. So I played yesterday at Rock Castle. I played a 6 hour for 6 hours on Thursday, 6 hours on Friday, and then 2 hours today at the Shade Grove Orchard. It's a lot of fiddling and a lot of doing this nonstop, and so after 2 or 3 days of that. Wonderful. All right. So while our fat is rising, we want to do something else. Let me see what the best way to do this is. I guess I use this. This is a Greek style pizza, and so it's a little different. Basically, when we make this, we're gonna put that dough in here, and that dough is gonna create like the walls and the floor here, and then you're gonna have this deep pan. So you're gonna want to fill that up with stuff. And one of the things that we do is to make the filler. I mean, think of this almost as like lasagna and pizza together. Is I have what is this? Is that a pint?
Maybe.
15 ounces.
It's almost 2 cups, I know that.
Yeah, okay. So, I'm going to take this and I'm going to, we're going to put this in the pizza. But for right now, we're just going to prep it because we got time. I got to reuse some, here we go. Some of this. me to pour that for you, honey?
That would be great.
You didn't know this was going to be that long, did you? I'm a whiskey and wine person. Laura's a beer person.
Thank you.
So, we're going to pull that out here. And this is, if you're not familiar with ricotta cheese, think of it as like Italian style cottage cheese, right? I wouldn't substitute it with what do you call it? Cottage cheese. But anyway, I have some of that. Put some black pepper on it. Black pepper is a very Italian thing, by the way. When the Visigoths sacked Rome and demanded a ransom for them to leave the city, part of that ransom was 20,000 pounds of black pepper. It was that good. They were willing to sack Rome for it. This is minced garlic because I'm lazy, so it's just garlic that's already been minced and it's in an oil, probably olive oil. Put that in there, and one more, and then we'll put an egg. And that egg is going to help kind of make it form up, harden up once we cook it.
That's everything I put in my lasagna.
Yeah.
Except some salt. I add salt and Parmesan cheese to my ricotta as well.
And we've talked about doing that, like maybe combining lasagna, but this is basically, what is Greek pizza? It's kind of like lasagna pizza. Why did I call it Greek pizza? Well, because in Detroit at one point was considered one of the most diverse cities in the world because all these different ethnicities came to Detroit to work in the automotive industry. And but it was very segregated, so everybody lived in a different neighborhood. You know, the Greeks lived in one neighborhood, the blacks lived in another, the Arabs lived in another, the Italians lived somewhere else. And because of this, and we had all these concentrated ethnic groups, these people all came up with their own restaurants and stayed close to their cultures. So if you're in Detroit, I can take you to a part where like no one speaks English, they only speak Polish, and they are the best Polish restaurants in the world. Arabic restaurants are the best Arabic restaurants in the world. We got the best Italian. You name an ethnicity, I'll take you to a place where they don't speak English and they make the food just like they do in the old country. And I'll tell you, so I worked in Greektown, and Greektown's very popular. It's almost, I wouldn't say it's like our Broadway, but it's an entertainment district in Detroit. And if you go to Detroit, I highly recommend it. But it's an area where there's a bunch of Greek restaurants and bars. And of course, now other things are slipping in there. But Pizzapopolis is owned by Greeks. They make this kind of pizza. And there's some other Greek-style restaurants throughout Metro Detroit, and they also make this style of pizza. So, is it Greek? I think it is. To make it Greek, I put oregano in there, and one of the big differences between Italian and Greek food is Italians like basil, the Greeks like oregano. All right, so we're gonna mix this up. And the reason why I'm doing this now is because I want to give it a chance to settle. So, because it'll sit in the refrigerator for about an hour. Honey, it's your choice. We can do two things. We can make the Caesar salad now. No, we can't. Never mind. I was going to say we can make the Caesar salad now, and then eat it while this is cooking, or we could take a break because I know your arms get tired. Let's see. I only have so many bowls, so I have to figure this out. I need that bowl to make the Caesar salad. Okay, so we'll wait till we make the pizza. So in the meantime, here's what that looks like now mixed up. And that's going to be a whole layer in the pizza. And we'll see how that works. Is everybody having a good time?
Yeah.
All right. And I don't know how well I'll be able to do it, but I promise all these videos that we're doing, I will go back through them and check out any comments and questions, and if Laura sees questions, we'll answer them. We're going to put that away. And I'm going to do one more thing, and then we're going to take a break for a while and come back in a little bit. So I'll tell you, you know, people don't think this. I had a hard time convincing Vanessa. I am actually somewhat of an introvert. Yes, I go out and I play my fiddle in front of people, and some of you might have remembered me talking live on television, did all that kind of stuff. But I like going out every once in a while with friends, but I'm really a homebody. And so this is like a nice romantic evening. We're going to, I'm glad I did this because I want to put these up. We're listening to music, we're having a few drinks, we're cooking, we're going to watch we're going to watch Walking Dead, and then we're going to watch some Korean horror movie. What is it, The Parasite or The Host?
The Host.
So, alright, we're gonna take a break for now. We'll come back in about, about a half hour or so, and we'll, at that point, we'll make probably about an hour, but somewhere around there. But if you miss it, don't worry about it, because all this is gonna sit on the channel. We're gonna come back, we're gonna prep the pizza, and then we're gonna make the Caesar salad, and probably even eat it. So, stay tuned. And oh, by the way, I guess I should promo my book, right? Okay. So, one of the reasons, well, first of all, the real reason why I agreed to do this was because I love cooking, I care about people, and I love sharing, because cooking is all about community, it's all about sharing with other people. But like the business side of it was like, Vanessa's like, yeah, I want you to come in and promote your book. So I put it in the title. So yes, shameful self-promotion, but I am an author. I write historical fiction. I write about the American Civil War. This is my book. It's called Rampage on the River. It's the first of a series, and I'll just tell you, it's an action adventure book. It's basically the history in it is all real. It's all real stuff that actually happened. My main characters are fictional, but they interact with real historical people like General Pope and Nathan Bedford Forrest and Sherman. Yeah, and the battles that are in this are all real. So like the Battle of Fort Donelson, if you live in Middle Tennessee, that's no more than an hour drive from Nashville. And of course the Battle of New Madrid and the Battle of Island Number 10. So this is the first book in that series. I'm almost done with the second book. Yeah, I put the link. You can look at it on Amazon. Highly recommend it. If you have a Kindle, it's only $3. And but if you want a copy like this, they're $12.84. Also, if you don't want to get from there, they sell them at Parnassus, which I'm really proud of. They sell them at the Lotes House. I think there's only 2 copies left at the Lotes House right now. They also sell them up at the Robertson County History Museum in Springfield. So those are all places. Also, if you are in town and you get a hold of me, I also sell them right out of the back of my car. So anyway, that's that. I'll bring that up a few times. And you don't have to buy my book to learn how to make pizza. But if you're interested in our history, or if you just want a good book that's fun to read. I mean, I made the book to be, we love Netflix series, and and I wrote it for people who like to watch Netflix. Each book is like a series, or is like season, and each chapter is like an episode on Netflix. And I hate being bored reading. I hate like, oh my God, how many more pages? So I wanted to make sure that right off the bat, we got action, we got things happening, the book moves. People actually end up really reading it quite quickly. So I have a feeling that people read it quickly because they're enjoying it, and it's a page turner. So anyway, that's my book. We'll be back in a few minutes, or maybe not a few minutes, but like probably about a half hour. Okay, see you guys soon. Thank you very much.